Right, you guys, make sure you like this video and subscribe to Mike's, okay? Make sure. If you don't subscribe to Mike, you're gonna have a fat forehead and a big hairline.
I'm with the guy Max inside. Subscribe to him. Make sure you do still. Best content coming out. You know how it is.
Hello and welcome back to another video, people. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Make sure you're smashing the likes and subscribing if you are new. And yeah, finally I get to bring like some form of transfer video, I guess. I'm not too particularly sure whether there's really much in terms of detail to talk about, but I guess this is the first transfer news video of the window. And yeah, let's get started, people. So Chelsea want Mohamed Kudus. According to Simon Phillips. Now, Chelsea have always been interested in Mohamed Kudus. The reason why I say that is because they were mildly interested when we actually signed him in the first place. It was us, Chelsea and Brighton, that were the three Premier League teams that were interested at the time. Obviously, they went after Cole Palmer instead, so that was what helped us. After Chukwuemeka got injured against us, they signed Cole Palmer as their extra 10 option, and look how that's worked out for them. With Mohamed Kudus, one good season, one distinctly below average season. I can't say like complete dog water or anything, but it's just it's just moments of being horrendous, moments of the old Kudus or the last season Kudus we saw this season, but those were very rare. As I said, this guy is better when he runs into space rather than when we're trying to like break a team down, or when we have more of the ball, especially in the games at home. That's why he does so well against the Liverpools and the Arsenals, the Man Uniteds, when we're running into space, sitting deep, etc. Which is why I'm confused why Chelsea want him. I know Chelsea do sometimes play on a transition, but most of the time Chelsea want to keep the ball. I think Kudus would do well at Chelsea to an extent. I think he'll be a good squad player. I think when they're taking on teams that play high up the pitch, they'll definitely need a Mohamed Kudus because he's probably one of the best at taking advantage of space. It's just taking too long on the ball. Like, taking too long to release the ball, taking too many touches. That's his main, I say weakness. But I also don't think he wants to be here, which is why I think we should let him go in the first place anyway, because the guy's just walking around now. I know the guy said, I want to get European football with West Ham, but that doesn't convince me that you're going to be here, that you want to be here. I'm going to be so honest. So if Chelsea do pay the money, we need to finesse anyone that's going to pay the money for Mohamed Kudus, because if this is going to be the whole thing that funds our rebuild, then maybe we should consider this. So I don't think it'll be the end of the world if he does go. As much as the idea of Kudus sounds good and stuff, I don't think it's really come to fruition, if I'm being 100% real with you lot. So them getting Kudus really doesn't make sense, if I'm being honest, unless they're doing it as a backup 10 option with Palmer. I don't think he works in the 1v1 winger sort of system that Maresca actually wants to prevail, in terms of how he likes to play his wingers. Like, Bino Gittins makes sense. He makes sense because apparently he's better on the touchline. Obviously, I doubt they've signed Kudus to play on the left, because why would you? Kudus on the right wing. Is he playing over Neto? Neto hasn't been great. Maybe they've signed him for the right wing. Maybe Palmer and Kudus would be good at just swapping over and stuff. But Kudus is not really the guy to take someone on 1v1 and then burst away from them and actually get a shot off, really. Because when he does that, most of the time, when he cuts 1v1, especially to his left-hand side, like from the right-hand side to his left foot, the ball will go behind him most of the time, and it will take too long to shoot anyway. But the thing is with Kudus, he can shoot. He can strike a ball really well when he's not thinking about it. The problem is sometimes he takes too many touches. So I think they're getting a really raw player at 25, 26, who'd probably turn in 26 either this year or next year, I assume. And being a raw type player at 25, 26 is a big problem. Haven't shown any development in your game since God knows how long. But that's just my opinion when it comes to Mohamed Kudus. I just think we need to get as much money as possible. We need to get as much money as possible, because I did say this a lot, especially at the start of last season. At the start of the season that just went, especially under Lopetegui, that regardless of how bad Kudus plays, I think this is his last season. I reckon we can finesse someone for money. Apparently, his release clause is only for 10 days in July. So to be fair, you probably would want to sign Kudus now rather than later. Otherwise, you'd have to pay the release clause because I don't think West Ham would sell for anything other than the release clause. But maybe he doesn't leave. Maybe because he's on a big contract, he doesn't leave. But I don't think you're keeping a player that actually wants to be at West Ham United. So I wouldn't really see the point of keeping him, if I'm being real. The next story is apparently it's going to take another 6 to 8 weeks for people to reveal Lucas Paqueta's court hearing. Now, I don't know the full details behind this, but apparently his thing has been breached or has come to a conclusion or whatever. But apparently we're going to know in the next few weeks when whether Lucas Paqueta is actually guilty or not. But we need to hear about that sooner rather than later because I'm sure we need to plan without him because we need midfielders, man. We need midfielders. I wouldn't panic too much about the whole Robert Sanchez links. I know it's by ex-West Ham employee, but those weren't strong links because the report said it's only if Chelsea get Mike Maignan that we would go for Petrovic or Sanchez because if you guys actually read the Fabrizio thing as well, they're happy with their current 4 keepers. Now, what I'm assuming is going to happen is that they'll probably keep Petrovic instead, and Maignan is just a case of market opportunity because there's a year left on his contract. But I assume because of the season Petrovic is out of Strasbourg, they'll go ahead and keep Petrovic and probably sell Sanchez, but I don't think it'll be to us. So apparently we're getting a new goalkeeping coach from Brighton, but it's not the same guy that worked with Sanchez. That was Ben Roberts, who's at Chelsea now. So I don't think we're going to get Robert Sanchez. If this club does get Robert Sanchez, I'm just saying this now, guys. Like, we are finishing in the relegation zones purely because of Robert Sanchez if we do sign him. Now, way before Chelsea fans tried to tell me about Robert Sanchez, I tried to tell Chelsea fans about Robert Sanchez when Chelsea signed him. I thought this guy was absolutely poor at Brighton regardless, so no one can tell me about Robert Sanchez because I've been saying since West Ham drew with Brighton 1-1 under Potter when Mopai scored at the end. I remember from that game was when I said, this guy's shit. This guy is fucking terrible. So we'll move on from that. And I want to, before I get on to like the last like strong link, this whole Aaron Ramsdale thing, yeah. You lot, stop believing everything you read. Stop believing everything you read. I get sent a lot of stuff by people when it comes to West Ham news, but the problem is a lot of this is by like not random sources, but sources that always finesse, and people just don't like to clock on that these guys are finesses when it comes to writing their headlines down. Like, guys, stop going on social media and believing everything you see. If you're a West Ham fan and you're still believing everything other than ex-West Ham employee at this point, then you are stupid. And you just want to be angry for the sake of it. Because a lot of people are getting angry about Ramsdale, and the problem is every fucking person believes this shit all the time under the sun, and people will be like, oh, why are you going off after Aaron Ramsdale? You know, the people that are reporting this Aaron Ramsdale links are TalkSport and Graham Bailey. So when I'm getting sent stuff, unless it's an ex-West Ham employee, I'm not trying to hear it. Like, if you see a report by Team Talk, Graham Bailey, TalkSport, 90-Minute Football, Jacob Steinberg, who else? Who else is a finesse? Rudy Garcia. These men are finesses. They don't get anything right. Especially when it comes to West Ham United. Unless ex-West Ham employee puts the tick next to the flag when the medical's done, don't believe that shit. Even Fabrizio got the what the fuck was that guy's name that we tried to sign last year from Brazil, the centre-back? I don't remember the guy's name, but he ended up going to Saudi or some shit, or he ended up staying or whatever. Bro, that was meant to be a here we go, and it didn't end up being a here we go. When we went to Brazil and tried to get that centre-back guy. Bro, that's what Fabrizio reported, the false here we go for West Ham United. Even David Ornstein has got reports wrong before. Like Brozier, when Brozier was linked to West Ham around the Skamaka times in like 2023. Or 2022, sorry. In the 22-23 pre-season. I remember coming back from Ipswich away in pre-season and trying to look to see if Broja or Skamaka were advanced with West Ham United. But yeah, let me go on to the last link as well. I actually need to find this. But I think it's Get French Football News that reported this as well, because obviously, shock, it is 2025 and West Ham are still trying to look for a striker. Apparently, I've just seen Napoli have opened talks to sign Carlos Soler. Good enough for Napoli, not good enough for West Ham, apparently. But yeah, we're probably going after more strikers. This is the guy. This is the guy. Okay, this is the guy. Let me just get... So West Ham are leading the race to sign Saint-Etienne striker Lucas Stassin. I've never heard of the guy in my life. I don't know a single thing about him. I'm barely convinced that the guy is a real person. Just because the trim combined with the name, this guy looks like he's watched Fernando Torres once and wanted to dress exactly like the guy. So this is apparently the guy we are interested in terms of the striker. Every West Ham fan on Twitter is now an expert on this guy because apparently they watch every Saint Etienne game. But however, I don't think I've ever watched a Saint Etienne game in my whole entire life of watching football, if I'm being so real. If I have, I do not remember. I don't remember when they were in the Champions League back in the day. So that might have been it. But I've not watched a single Saint Etienne game in my life. So I couldn't tell you anything about him. But if this is the guy and we are actually leading the race, and how many times have we said or we've seen West Ham are leading the race for a player like Armando Broja, Harvey Barnes, just a couple examples in the past where West Ham were leading the race for certain transfer targets. What I can see happening here is that West Ham will be stalling on a price for months and months and months, and then someone else will go for this. So that's my whole stance on it. That's my whole stance on that. But if we are interested, then just go and get him. I'm not playing around this transfer window. Like, I'll do videos on it, but I'm not trying to hear anything about West Ham are interested. West Ham have invested talks. West Ham are monitoring and all this. I think every football fan is tired of it when their club is linked to players like this all the time. So just, I can't lie. Unless they're Here We Go, even though I just mentioned about Here We Go, I will do a video on a Here We Go. I will be doing videos on transfer rumours because that's kind of what gets you through the fucking window as a content creator. But, bruv, I'm not invested. I don't care. The fact that Potter said that that West Ham don't need surgery against Nottingham Forest worries me. The fact that David Sullivan is our director of football worries me. So I don't think anything of note is going to happen. Even if we sign a player, I'll be mildly happy. But minimum 5 signings, minimum, bare minimum. I don't accept that we're going to be busy in the transfer window, so hopefully that he's right. But maybe Potter's playing it down in public or whatever. But even if he is playing it down in public, when he's talking about West Ham don't need surgery, don't even say it. Don't even say that shit because I'm not trying to hear it. I'm not trying to hear about West Ham don't need surgery. West Ham need surgery. West Ham need open heart surgery, like Randick said for Man United, bro. So I'm not trying to hear shit. But listen, make sure to leave a like on the video. Make sure to subscribe if you're new. Social media are in the description if you want to follow me in the email for the inquiries. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.